Okay, we have added another form, web form 4. Okay, what we are going to do with web form 4 is that we are going to look uh, to other controls. Okay, now let us go to design. Okay, now the first thing that we want to do is that similarly, I'm going to drag and drop the SQL data source. Now this is SQL data source. Okay, we configure the data source. Okay, select the connection. We click next. Okay, so what we are going to do now is that I would like to focus on the part where we can add the data. Okay, now let's say that I'm going to choose the TBL students. Okay, here, okay, we select advanced. We check the generate, insert, update, and delete statements. We click OK. We click next. Let us test the query. Okay, the query is fine. Okay, and we click finish. Okay, now, so what we are going to do now is that we are going to use, we have details view. Okay, we are going to use details view. Now, I'm going to drag and drop this somewhere. Now, this is the details view. Okay, we choose the data source, the SQL data source one. Okay, here you can see that there is this particular elements. We have enable paging, inserting, editing, and deleting. Okay, now here we want to select enable paging because for details view it will display, okay, one row at one time. Okay, it does not do like list view or grid view where we can, it's like 10 or 20 per page, but here is only one row per page at one time. Okay, so that is why we need to enable the paging. So you can see this is paging. Okay, let's say that we want to allow inserting, meaning that we want to add new data. See this new here, we want to allow editing, edit, and we want to allow deleting. Okay, enable deleting. Okay, now let us actually choose this. Now if I am to run this, okay, let's say that I run. Okay, now here, see we have the display. Okay, now we can actually go from rows rows by rows. See, this is uh, number 2, number 3, number 4. It's like this is like paging 5, 6, and so on. Okay, 7, 8. Okay, let's say that we have this Siti Sarah. So if we want to edit, okay, let's say I click edit. Okay, now this is the same way that we can edit, and once we click update, we can update this. For example, Siti Sarah. Okay, Shamsul Anwar. Okay, so basically this is something that we can actually update, or let's say that we click update. Now this is actually the new rows. Okay, now if you click this delete, similarly it will delete this row, so I'm not going to do that. So if I am to actually click new, okay, now this is new. This is a new record. Okay, you can add new records. Okay, of course the index number, because that is auto number identity, so we cannot key in, it will key in automatically. Okay, now let us add something. Okay, let us add something. Okay, just ignore this because this is Google's things. Okay, they try to anticipate what we want to add. Let's say that we have another one, name. We click insert. Okay, now let us have a look at our record just now. This is actually Irene Sophia now. Okay, this is the records that we have actually added. Okay, so now um, if you are to actually uh, enter some new records, you can use details view here, but you must do it rows by rows, page by page. Okay, now let us close the browser here. Okay, we can apply some kind of formatting to the details view. Okay, we click this. Okay, let's say that there is auto format. Okay, now here fortunately there are more formatting that you can use. So this is colorful, classic, simple, professional, autumn, oceanica, brown sugar, slate, sand and sky, rainy day. So meaning that there are different themes, styles. Okay, let's say that I'm going to choose something that is very simple. Let's say that okay, I choose slate. I click apply and click OK. Okay, now this is similarly, you can also apply your own styles. Okay, you can also apply your own styles. Okay, there are other things that you can do with this. For example, let's say that you may choose not to, if you do not want to enter anything, you can actually just edit. You can add new fields, but of course we have covered all the fields, so nothing much that we can do here. Okay, for example, to this edit field, okay, similarly we can change, for example, date of birth. We can change the header text here. Similarly, we can change the formatting here. Okay, the formatting, okay, whenever it displays, it will display based on certain formatting, but when we edit, it will revert back to the original data. Okay, for example, let's say that uh, let me put in some format. Okay, open curly bracket 0 colon. Let's say that I want to put in let's say D. Okay, D uh, M M M and Y Y Y Y. Okay, so let's say this format. Okay, there are other things that you can do. Okay, you can see this is control styles, meaning that you can create styles separately, meaning that you can create, okay, this is you want this kind of color, this kind of so on, so meaning that you have control styles. Okay, see, this is footer style, this is item style. Okay, you can explore this because this is beyond the scope of my lesson today, but you can try to change this style. Okay, try to change this style so that it will look different based on your taste. Okay, now let me just focus on just the data format string first. We click OK. So if you can see this display, so when we run this, okay, so you can see that, see, this is date of birth. Okay, and if we click for example edit, okay, it will revert back to the original formatting, whereby this is actually based on your the Windows setting. So this is how you key in. See, we click cancel, but when display, it will be displayed like this. Okay, so this is actually details view. And for you to be able to add new, so you need to actually set and configure the SQL data source, so that it will allow the insert, the update, and the delete elements of that particular data source. And for you to be able to do that, is that first, okay, it must be based on a single table. So you cannot join two tables and suddenly you want to do that. Okay, it will not allow you. Okay, that function will not be available to you. That is number one. It must be based on a single table. Okay, secondly, it must have a primary key. It must have a primary key, and the primary key must be added, okay, to the selection of the fields that you want to include within the SQL data source. Okay, so this is details view. Okay, let us add another form. Add web form. Okay, this is a web form 5. So we have added another form, web form 5. Okay, now for this web form 5, we are going to look into another control. Okay, we are going to focus on what we call form view. Now, similarly, okay, we are going to drag this SQL data source. We configure the data source. We select the connection. Click next. Okay, I'm going to choose again TBL students. Okay, we choose advanced. We generate, insert, update, and delete statements. Click OK. Next, we can test the query if we want to, and we click finish. Now, here we have another, which is a form view. Now, this is form view. Now, this is form view. Okay, by default, this is form view 1. We choose a data source. Now we have SQL data source 1. Okay, here we have enable dynamic data support and enable paging. So let's say that we are going to enable paging. Okay, for the rest, okay, it's not important at this point of time. Okay, now that's it. So let us actually run this to see what happens. Okay, now this is actually a forms view, and you can see that it is quite similar to details view. Okay, for example, let's say that I am going to go to this Siti Sarah number 8. Okay, let's say that I'm going to edit. Okay, so it forms view, it gives some sort of a form, so meaning that there is this particular name and it displays in the form of text box. Okay, in the form of text box, let's say that I'm going to delete this part, just Siti Sarah, and we are to update. Okay, now why does Microsoft create this form almost similar to DetailsView, but it's a different name. Okay, now FormView, okay, has actually some other features that allow you to customize. Okay, meaning that you can change the text boxes and so on. Okay, you can even replace the text boxes with a drop down list and so on. But of course, it will take some kind of detailed look at the codes, which perhaps is beyond the scope of what I am going to teach you today. Okay, let us have a look just based on the wizard what is offered here. Okay, here you can see that there are auto format. Okay, now the auto format is somewhat similar. Okay, somewhat similar. Okay, let's say that you can choose this, for example, apply. Okay, so the format will be like this. Okay, let's say that I'm going to remove the format. So if you want to remove the format, or perhaps you want to use 100% your own style sheet, okay, you can remove the format and start from scratch. That is possible. Uh, now here for FormView, there is this edit templates. Now here is actually there is a features that we can actually allow this to be replaced or perhaps to be edited. Okay, and if I have a look at the source, you will look at the source that you can see that these are all labels. See, these are all labels, which actually you can change this. You can add different things. See, these are labels. You can actually add some HTML tables over here within this item template, so that it will actually align the layout. So you can do many things here. Okay, so basically at this point of time, so I'm not going into this, but perhaps if we have time, okay, within the semester, I will show you how we can use this actually to manipulate what is being displayed. Okay, we want to change the width, we want to put in the layout in the form of like table like layout. So that is all a possibility that we can do with FormView. Okay, so it offers us more flexibility in terms of customizing compared to DetailsView. But currently, so I'm not going to show you how to do it, because this is just to show you an overview of the different things that we have here. Okay, this is web form 5. So let us go to the design view. Okay, and go back. Okay, we display, we end template editing. So we can actually edit the templates. Okay, this is a new added form, web form 6. Okay, now for this web form 6, okay, we are going to look into the data list. The data list. Okay, let us just go to the design first. Okay, similarly, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to actually drag and drop the SQL data source. I'm going to configure the data source. Okay, okay, we select con student, click next. Okay, similarly, I'm going to choose TBL students, click advanced, generate, insert, update, and delete statements, click OK. Next, okay, we can test the query if we want to, and we finish. Okay, now let's say that I'm going to use data list. Okay, this is data list. I'm going to drag and drop. We choose the data source. SQL data source 1. Now this is the data list. Okay, so this is very similar to what is shown in the list view. Okay, in the form of list. Okay, now if I just leave it like this and just to run, now this is the data list. Okay, okay, let us close this. Okay, let us have a look at different features within data list. Okay, now here within this data list, okay, you can of course we can format. So basically there are different kinds of formatting that we can apply. Okay, this is in the form of data list. Okay, now one features that basically there is what we call a property builder. Okay, so here in general we can choose to have the number of columns. For example, we want let's say we want 3 columns. Okay, and we can choose this as horizontal or vertical. The layout, where is there is a table or there is a flow, let's say flow. Okay, now this is the formatting, so we can choose the different formatting in terms of color and so on. Okay, back color, font name, font size. We can choose the different borders and so on. So these are all formatting. Okay, now if I just choose, let us focus on the just the layout. Okay, column, 3 columns. So it will become like this. Okay, now these are 3 columns. Okay, now what's the benefit of using this? Okay, so basically my previous experience is that I've developed previously an online web application whereby we have the gallery which displays different products. So what I did was try to have this in 3 columns and multiple rows per page. Okay, so the data list control offers us a very flexible way of manipulating things. Okay, so meaning that we can actually change the styles, we can change the template. Okay, this is similar to FormView just now. Okay, we can change the template. For example, if we go to the source, yes, we can change this at the very label or even the text boxes and so on. So the availability of this is that it allows for you to customize. So this is something that you cannot get from using a list view. Okay, so this is very beneficial, but only when you know how to do it. So again, if I have the time to show you, so I will try to share some of the things that we can do in more detail, especially using the data list and also the form view. Okay, now if we want to go back, okay, we end the template editing. So uh, this is data list. Of course, we have other controls that we have not covered, but for the purpose of our lesson, we will cover until this.